Coming up today on the Prosperity Nation podcast.
Overcoming those challenges is what makes us feel really good in life. I mean, if all of it was just really easy and we just did it here, then is it rewarding? I mean, you have the goal, but isn't it the challenge that's rewarding? Welcome to the Prosperity Nation podcast. I'm Angie.
And I'm Elise.
And we're glad you're here. We're looking forward to jumping into our episode today to talk about failed goals. Why you give up on your goals. And I know that's kind of a depressing topic, but we will make it fun. At least Elise will. You'll save us, won't you?
I'll try. I'll do the best I can.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. So what happened yesterday?
Yeah, okay. First of all, we were talking about this earlier and you acted like you had no idea. And so now I'm actually really concerned.
No, I still have my mental health. I'm good. I was totally joking.
Okay. I was like, for a minute, I'm like, what the hell? So, well, I know you know, but I'm going to let everyone know I passed my Series 65 test.
Woo!
Yeah.
Right on. Yes, that's so good.
I like, seriously, when I was like going through it, you know, I don't know if you get this, but you have that moment where you're like, I'm going to fail this thing. Like, I don't know. It's like a roller coaster of emotions just going through these tests. And you're like, I know that. And then like, I have no idea. And I was like in this like suspense when I clicked the submit test button. It's like gathering your results. And I felt my heart just like racing. And probably the amount of caffeine I had before the test didn't help this moment. My heart was pounding and then it just said pass. And I like almost thought I was going to cry. And then I held my shit together and I did not, but it was a very good moment. It's been a long time coming for a lot of people who maybe don't know. Yeah. I've been studying for a really long time. So yeah.
Congratulations. Well done. You put a lot of time and effort into it and deserve every second of celebration for that.
Thank you.
It's one of your first major milestones on your journey of getting all your credentials and your licenses and all that. So what's next?
What's next is my life insurance license.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we are a one-stop shop for all this. Well, what's after that?
After that's the big one. CPA, you know.
Getting some wins on the smaller tests first, right?
Exactly. Well, I mean, I haven't been in school in so long that, you know, I don't remember what it's like taking these tests. So it's kind of nice to like do these smaller ones. I don't want to say they're not as important because I think they're just as, but they're not as long as a CPA exam for sure. So, but yeah, I'm getting back into this flow of test taking and what the mindset is and how to, you know, adequately prepare prior, because that's, you know, knowing how to take the test is just as important, you know?
It's so true.
So, yeah.
And maybe that's why this topic's been on my heart and my mind lately about giving up on your goals or failing, you know, the attempts that it takes. And, you know, so often it's easy to, you know, get that first fail and then quit, or, you know, it starts to feel too hard and you start questioning, well, why am I doing this anyway? And maybe this is or isn't true for your test, you know, but I know all the time we quit goals, you know, we quit things we start. Why?
Oh, there's so many probably reasons. I mean, like, I think it's discouraging. One is it's discouraging.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we as individuals want to do bad at anything. We don't want to fail. So I think people quit goals because they don't want to fail. They don't want to almost like admit they don't know something or don't know how to do something. So it's easier to give up than to like admit that you failed before, you know?
Yeah, it's so true. It's hard because, you know, the goals that are worthwhile, the goals that are really meaningful in life are usually the ones that have a lot of steps or they have a lot of hard work in front of you to do. And, you know, that I think is what really makes us like, I don't know, overcoming those challenges is what makes us feel really good in life. I mean, if all of it was just really easy and we just did it here, then is it rewarding? I mean, you have the goal, but isn't it the challenge that's rewarding?
I think so.
I think so too.
I feel like, you know, if it's that easy and everyone does it, it doesn't make it special or unique or like like you said, challenging. Like
I got one right now that I've been like struggling with in that regard. And I have given up on it, and then I pick it back up, and I give up on it, and I pick it back up. And, besides being an accountant and besides being a tax expert and a financial planner, I'm also a writer. And during the pandemic, I wrote 3 pilot scripts for TV. I've never written TV scripts, so I was just experimenting with it. And I hired a writing coach, and I got some really good feedback, not just from the coach, but I entered some contests and got some, acknowledgments. And this was my first, so I learned what I don't know about it, but I also kind of went in with an attitude of, I can learn this, kind of like all my energy to get over that learner's hump,
Yep.
and then get going on it. And I always say this life motto for myself. Like, I like to try new things, but I hate sucking at it. That's kind of what I say. I hate sucking at it. Yeah. But every time you try something new, you're going to suck at it for a while until you get good at it. And so I try to get through that sucky part really fast. And then I got like stable legs, and then I can start learning, the deeper stuff. And but some things just take time and practice, and you just can't do that, And so I'm a writer, and I wrote some TV scripts, which was new for me. The year before that, I wrote a comic book. That was new for me. Never done that before. And I've written, a dozen books and ebooks and stuff like that that have been out on Amazon and all. But this year, I've been saying, oh, and by the way, none of those books are for sale on Amazon because that's my problem. I could write them, but then I don't actually promote them. That's a whole nother episode. But this particular thing is that I keep telling people the Prosperity Handbook is going to come out this year, and I'm not doing
That's right.
I'm not doing it. And I keep
not?
bugging myself. Why not? I know. There's like barriers.
Yeah.
I think there's real, true barriers toward goal achievement that we ignore if it starts to get hard, or if there's something we don't know, or if I'm uncomfortable about something, or I get nervous about it, that I start finding these reasons or other things that are more important, and I throw my goal away. Yeah. Does that sound, have you had it? Have you had that?
Yeah. Let me think. I can't think of one though. Right?
Because
I'm just
because you're Elise.
Yeah.
What's that?
I just reach all of my goals.
Yeah, exactly. Boom. Manifest. Well, here, while you're thinking about it, let me tell you what some of the barriers I call them barriers, but when you're on your goal path, you've got your obstacles and your barriers, and you've got basically anything that tries to get on the roadblock of achievement. What?
Sorry, you just reminded me.
Tell me.
I won't get into specifics, but I've definitely, they're all kind of stupid. I don't want to call, they're not goals, but I can see how this could go into a goal is when people are just maybe negative. Okay, I do have an example. So when I had told someone about me running the marathon, instead of a lot of my friends and stuff were like, oh my God, that's amazing. Like, that's so exciting. Their reaction was like, oh, well, that's a lot of work. You should be careful. And I know the intention wasn't necessarily like negative, but those types of comments that aren't maybe super constructive or supportive can make people doubt themselves. Like, oh, can I do that? Especially if it's maybe someone really close to you.
Yeah.
That you really respect.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
And then you don't want that negative feedback, or you don't want to disappoint those people, or you want them to be excited. Then you stop talking about it, and then you start doubting whether you should or you shouldn't. It's like a cycle. Those are some of the barriers. Like if we were to name some of the barriers for achievement, for me in writing my book, the biggest barrier that I have is I keep wiggling on what's the purpose of the book. And I think I do that for almost an excuse, because honestly, when you write a book and you put that information out there, you're putting your heart and soul out there for the public to read. And it's kind of nerve-wracking, It's a little bit scary. I know all you writers out there, probably all you artists out there in general, know exactly what I'm talking about. I think it happens to all artists because you're very vulnerable putting your art out there like that. And so the way it shows up for me is like, well, what are we going to do with this book? Are we going to sell it? Are we going to give it away? Are we going to bundle it with one of our coaching programs? Are we going to give it to our tax clients? And then I just make it all confusing, because if it's confusing, I don't have an answer, and then I can put it down because I don't have an answer. But yet I created all that myself for no reason, except nervousness maybe. That's just one of the barriers that I've seen. But, if we think about all the different different kinds of goals that people want to achieve and where they want their money to go and how many dreams do people quit on. What are some of those other barriers that we see with people when we're helping them really find out what it is that brings prosperity in their life?
I would say one of them is approval.
Approval?
Like, and maybe not, it's not kind of like, not the same as what you're saying in a way, but like they might not feel that their spouse or, significant other or maybe friends or family might not approve of whatever their goal is. And I'm not even saying it's a bad one. It's just maybe they just are ashamed of it or scared or, they don't want to put themselves out there like that.
Yeah. When I did money coaching, one of the things that was really eye-opening to me is the spouse didn't want to reveal their real goal because they didn't want to all of a sudden not be compatible. Like, what if the spouse disagreed?
Yeah.
So it was easier for them to not even let themselves have that goal and never say it out loud than it would be to confront the fact that maybe your partner would, the relationship would fall apart, let's say, if you really achieved your goal. And I get it. That's scary to put that out there. But I think those are important conversations to have at the beginning of your relationship,
Yeah, and I think I agree. I think another barrier would be, I don't know, I'll catch myself on this because I am kind of, going back to not school necessarily, but I'm getting all these licenses and, I feel like I get a reaction sometimes when I tell people that's like, oh, I'm too old for that. I'm like, oh, please, come on. Not me being too old necessarily, but like there's like a weird idea that after a certain age, like you can't start over, you know?
Yeah, that's true. I'm too old. I'm too old to publish a book. Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
Or too old to become an actor or too old to start a new career or do a career change. And I think people feel like they're just, once they hit a certain age, they just have to stay. I don't know.
Yeah. We have plenty of time, especially with when I look about it, when we do financial planning, we're projecting your life till you're 95, 105. And by the time that's 40, 50 years of improved medicine, who knows, we might be living to 150 by the time we get up there, But that's like 30, 40, 50 years from now. That is a long time. And I still plan on being smart and sharp and energetic all the way to the day I die. At least that's what I want. Right. That's what I'm trying for.
I know. So I get like, when people say that, I'm like, why? But it could also be because they're scared to make a change. They like the stability and security of whatever they're doing because change is scary too.
It's so true that I think the important thing is you got to know what your goal is first. Like you got to know the thing you want. You got to have that intention to actually go. And I think that intention is what does drive through those hard days and those times you do want to quit. And if you don't have that intention to actually get to the end of it, then anything can come up and you can quit. And so it's like that kind of anchors it. That's one thing. And the other is being able to, when those roadblocks come up, when that fear comes up, or maybe a disagreement with your spouse or your business partner, or, the confusion comes in, it's, do you know how to handle that? Are you willing to find out why that's happening and then work through it or not, instead of just giving up on it?
Yeah. And I think that goes back to what you said in the first place is, do you want the goal enough to be willing to work through it? Or, push through all those barriers or the people who don't agree or whatever, because I think that, that's what, like you said at the beginning, that's what makes it worth it, is overcoming all of those barriers. Because if everything was easy, I don't know, I wouldn't feel good about achieving anything if it was just handed to me,
Yeah. Well, it goes to, martial arts, I'm a big martial artist and fan and all that. Well, if it takes me 5 years to get my first black belt, then I don't like hearing about people who got their black belt in, 1 year. Like it devalues mine, in some way. So it's kind of that same thing. Like I worked hard like every day in the dojo for 10 years to get my 2 black belts, my 2nd degree black belt, and I almost was on my way to the 3rd and then I quit. Wow. No, but this is interesting. Why didn't I get my 3rd degree black belt? It's not because I don't want it, because I still do, but I started putting other priorities in life more important than training. And as soon as I did that, my training started waning. And as soon as that happened, like you can't stay up in martial arts with sporadic training. Like you just have to be consistent. But I chose to be more social. I chose to go out with friends more. I wanted to get out of the dojo and get out more out in the world more, and I wanted to start traveling. And as soon as I started traveling and went, laptop lifestyle, there was no way I could be in the dojo 2, 3, 4 times, 5, 6, 7 times a week, So I guess that was a changed goal, not a failed goal.
Yeah. I mean, we all have those. And I think that at the end of the day, it's like, are you still thinking about it and regretting that you didn't do that? And I feel like that might be one of those differentiating factors between was it a failed goal, or did you just, get to a certain point in your life where, things did just change? Because that happens. Like, we make goals when we're like 5. And, I wanted to be like 8 different things when I grew up, like weird things. I wanted to be a professional ice skater. And
I wanted to be a truck driver when I grew up.
That's funny. But that's my point. Like, obviously, things change in life and goals do change. So that's okay, because if they didn't, then we just wouldn't evolve as people, because our situations changed. So, but I think it's like, are you still regretting, with not being a truck driver? And that's, I think, the question.
No, I gave up on that one.
so that, I wouldn't consider that a failed goal.
That's true. But when it comes to writing, I still have, many versions of the manifest right out here. I'm writing on it all the time. I'm working through it. I'm outlining it. It's still in me. And you know what? I think that's what the difference is that some ideas are just ideas, and some ideas are inspired ideas. And I don't really have an exact definition for that, but it's just like, it's something that's trying to get out through me. It's not something I'm trying to do. When there's an inspired idea, it's almost like it was given to me and I have a duty now to fulfill it, versus, this would be nice if I did this, or that's a great idea. Let's try this, where I'm just easy to give it up or throw it away. But these inspired ideas, like, they don't let go of me. And then I just get where, if I'm not working on it, if I'm not doing it, I get really, really frustrated. And I think that's what brought up this whole topic.
Well, would you say like that, like in the inspired ideas, would you say maybe that's more of what your like purpose is as a person?
I think it fulfills, it's like a pathway to fulfilling a bigger purpose.
Yeah.
Because it's not like, okay, Angie, go write anything. It's like, okay, the comic book was fun. It was a great thing. Even writing the scripts, I know that that's premature. Like, the story I would want to get out in the TV shows or in a movie isn't like, it's not powerful yet. But the message of the Prosperity Handbook and the message of putting your life in prosperity as the goal and having fulfillment and flourishing financially and personally is a very powerful message. And when I tell people that, we're all about prosperity and the handbook's coming out soon, they're like, let me know when it is. Let me know when it is. And I'm like, oh shoot, they want this, and then I get like this little surprise by it, but I just can't let it go. I put it down and I'm like, I can't do it this year. I can't do it this time, but it will not let go of me. And I think that's really what that difference is between an inspired goal and then just some goal. And that is directly aligned with a bigger purpose, which for me, a bigger purpose that I've identified for myself is bringing more aliveness to people and groups and companies and areas. And aliveness comes when you're flourishing as a person. And then when you're flourishing financially, you have the means to actually go make your dream actually come true and not be stuck in the unfulfillment of it, because that's not a good feeling when you have an inspired idea and you don't do anything about it. Like, that doesn't feel good at all.
No, I agree. I mean, and I think, well, you're right about the coming alive part too, because we've been on calls with clients when you kind of break through that social veneer about what their goals are. And I witness it myself, honestly, but there's a total change in just their demeanor and how they're talking about what they want to do. It's no longer like, I want to save for retirement and have 5 kids and a dog. It's like, there's just like a switch that flips, and they just legitimately, you can see them coming alive, and you're like, okay, that's what it is. Like, that's what you want to do and what your real thing is.
Yeah. And then it's that conversation of, well, why aren't you doing it?
Yeah.
Like you asked, why aren't you writing that book? Why haven't you got that book published? And everything I say after that sentence is going to be a bunch of excuses.
Yep. So what are we doing today?
Well, we're going to have to get to the root of those excuses and actually get back on track again. And, what I've learned from all my years of experience and studies is that behind that, when there's confusions and stops and inabilities to move forward, there's just something I don't understand. Yeah. It's as simple as some, process I have to do that I don't fully understand yet, or I think I should understand it, or I don't understand the word, I don't understand how. And so instead of confronting that, I just find all these excuses why I can't do it. And I just push it away from me. Get away, get away, get away. So that's going to have to be my homework, it sounds like.
Figure that out. It looks like you have some work to do.
Yeah, now I've said this out loud. I better get the handbook out by the end of the year. That's just right around the corner.
I mean, you kind of are making yourself accountable by talking about it right now. Yeah. And so now we know that everything you say is just a bunch of BS. So I'm just going to call you out now.
Okay. All right. I'm up for it. You get your licenses and I'll get the book published. How's that?
That's fair. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we do want to hear what your goals are. What stops you and what are you doing about it? We're here as a community to figure this out together. There is no one answer for all of this stuff, but we just want you on the path for prosperity as the target and as the method for really living a life that you really love and that you feel great and you feel proud of. And if you're chasing something other than prosperity, there's always going to be this emptiness when you get there. So, we just want to work together. So we want to hear your stories. Share them with us.
Yeah, share those stories with us at stories@prosperitynation.com. Go ahead and like and subscribe to our podcast and follow us on social media.
Great. See you next time.
See ya.
Thanks for joining us today. Follow us on social media for the latest episodes, updates, and more. Like and subscribe to videos from us on YouTube and find out more at prosperitynation.com. That's it for now. We'll see you next time on the Prosperity Nation podcast.